make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironside's here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter and I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment and made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Watched this work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
I picked these for you. Hey, what about me?
We can share.
Of course.
Hello, welcome to Monday night. Whoa, hold on. What the heck happened there? There we go. Alright, welcome to Monday night. This is Cooper from Telepathic Bunny Comics. Anyway, so last week I did my favorite portrayals of werewolves, and I had so much fun with that. I thought I would just go ahead and make this kind of a series. So, nothing wrong with that. Anyway, so tonight I'm going to do Frankenstein's the monster, the creature. A lot of people, mistakenly call him Frankenstein. He is not Frankenstein. He is Frankenstein's creation. So, that happens a lot. That mistake gets made. Now, the creature is pretty much portrayed a lot in a lot of different ways throughout pop culture. So I'm going to play something that's shows kind of like the span of creature, like the way it's been portrayed in culture, from the supposed to be the worst to the best, but some of the ones that they think are the best, I'm kind of like, really, you know. Anyway, but this is a good way to get into the topic, and so here we go. So you go. Yeah, that's some pretty bad stinkers in there. But it's just pretty interesting how Dracula, his interpretations are pretty static. You get either the diplomat Dracula, the romantic Dracula, or the monster Dracula. That's like three different types. But with Frankenstein, it's like everybody has their own spin on it. And as recently as last year, Benicio del Toro put out his version of Frankenstein last year. And I haven't, but I'm told it's pretty close to Mary Shelley's version. There was an actual Mary Shelley Frankenstein. I think it's 2004, maybe. Kenneth Branagh. But his choice for Frankenstein, Robert De Niro. Yeah, that one was pretty much doomed from the beginning. And I have watched it, and I'm sorry. Even before Bobby went off the reservation mentally, he just wasn't. He just doesn't have a physical presence necessary to pull off Frankenstein's monster. He just doesn't. And just I mean, Kenneth Branagh did a really great version of Victor Frankenstein. And it's just like that whole entire movie. If you just like put, maybe they can do this with AI. I don't know, but if they like took Robert De Niro out of the movie and put a proper Frankenstein monster creature in the movie, then that would be probably one of the best Frankenstein movies. But that glaring deficit there. Who ever thought that Robert De Niro, tiny little pygmy that he is, could ever, be able to pull off Frankenstein's monster? I have no idea. That would definitely among the worst portrayals of the creature. Definitely. And one thing I did notice in the pantheon of creature makeups, that monster makeup for Herman Munster, that's pretty solid. That really holds up. I mean, it really does. But you know, back then, some of the television stuff that they were doing was like movie quality, just absolute movie quality. And for some reason, I keep getting people showing up and then leaving, and showing up and leaving, and showing up and leaving. I don't know why that is, but we'll stay the course. We'll stay the course. I'm getting no promotion from YouTube whatsoever, or X. X doesn't promote you these days for whatever reason, unless you have some, clickbait, something or other. But it is what it is. We're going to proceed because I want to. Now, you might notice in the thumbnail that I have Tom Noonan's Frankenstein. Tom Noonan passed away recently, as just a couple of days ago, I think. And that's one of the reasons I decided to do the show today. It's because his version of Frankenstein is definitely one of my favorites. And I'm going to show you why. He did this special feature where he did an interview as Frankenstein, as Frankenstein's monster, and it's it's brilliant. I'm not going to play more than like 3 minutes of it, even though it says that there's not going to be any problem. The live algorithm gets squirrely after 3 minutes, so I'll just play you 3 minutes of it. It's worth watching. Here you go.
Well, first off, I'd like to ask you, how long have you been an actor? How long have you been in the business?
52 years of business. First movie in 1931.
Well, it sounds like things went pretty well for you.
Oh, very well, very well. Most of the pictures, the big companies, worked several times in Europe. I worked at the TV in the 60s, which, I appreciate the opportunity to be seen by a wider audience, but I got overexposed.
So what happened after that?
Well, after that, I spent a lot of time traveling. I couldn't get work. My agent advised me that I should avoid that series, but, it was a chance to make a quick few bucks, and I've been in the business a long time. But what I'd like to talk about tonight is this may be one of the last monster movies that I may do.
I think your fans might be surprised to hear that.
Well, I know that. I have a lot of people that have been following me for years, but I love the monster movies. They've done a lot for me. I brought a lot of happiness into people's lives, but I think it's time for me to make people pictures. My agent and I've talked about this. I've changed agencies, of course. That it's time for me to break out of this mold.
So what is it about this film that you're finding the most enjoyable?
Well, from my point of view, what I most enjoy about this movie is the opportunity to work with children. Now, I got a lot of bad rap with these children. Early on, there was a thing with that little girl, and that little girl, it's a real problem. It's tough to work with. I had no choice but, to give her a swim. I didn't know she couldn't swim. But now I had a chance to work with these youngsters, wonderful actors, all of them, and to show the kind of a person I really am. Because it's too much involved with that guy Dracula over these years, and I finally have a chance to break away from that guy. Bad influence.
Because you're a good person.
I think so. I tell everybody think they're a good person, but I really work at it. Spent a lot of years. Yeah. I mean, I feel that, given the opportunity, I would do what anybody else would do.
So why are people still frightened of you?
I don't get it. Sometimes I think it's, I don't know.
Could it be the way you look?
That part of it, I got to the way I look, certain people have difficulty with. The size, I think the power. People frightened by the power. It's mostly that.
I would also think another reason is that you tend to stay in character while you're on the set, especially when you work with little children. Why do you continue to do that?
Well, I think it's important that in a story like this that there's a certain magic to it. And I think the children should be given the greatest opportunity to enjoy that magic, to believe in something. It's important children to have something to believe in. And I think Frankenstein is something that they can believe in.
So for you, it's important.
That was the feature of Monster Squad Anniversary reissue, which I have a copy of course. But yeah, that's basically Tom Noonan in character giving an interview as Frankenstein. And according to the feature, it was completely improvised on the spot. Somebody, the guy off screen was actually the director, and he saw that Tom was kind of like do an interview as Frankenstein, and Tom's like, "Sure, go ahead." For all his creepiness, for all his the ways that he was unnerving, in a lot of ways. He was just like most of the villain actors wind up being sweethearts. I mean, just absolute sweethearts. Some of the kindest hearted people you're ever going to meet, and they can play the most vicious monsters. I mean, terrifying people. But the scene in Monster Squad that I just think absolutely, and why it's one of my favorite portrayals of Frankenstein's monster is this one here.
Go! Wait! Read! I'm fucking German! Ich bitte Gert Schein! Damn, you really, you should read it! Come on! Birkenmünchen Warehouse!
Birkenmünchen nicht Warehouse!
Yeah, what he said! Bitte tun Sie uns nicht weh!
Auf dem Anhalt.
Auf dem Anhalt!
Auf ihr Gelegen. Morgen sie liegt nieder. Don't look up. Ich bin good.
Hey, hold right there a minute. Hey, stop right there. Stop!
Dunkelheit der Nacht, die Seele, den Tod, die Licht, dem Tod, das sich weiter Nosferatu. Welche sich rühren, die Winde, das sich blasen. Bitte tun Sie uns nicht weh.
All right. Um, reason I love that scene is that Frankenstein's monster. Uh, they really humanize him during the course of that movie a lot, and he has this really great like connection with the little girl. Um, Funny thing about it is that scene where the vampire like picks her up. It's not in that clip, but the vampire picks her up. He did this to the little girl. Now the director can never get away with it today. Okay, this is a different era. It's the 80s. Traumatizing children. It's just kind of like something they did. But the vampire picked her up, and Duncan Regehr, the guy who played Dracula, the director's like, I want you to scare her. And he's like, what? He's like, I want you to scare her. He's like, I've already cleared it with her mom. Evidently her mom signed off on it. And he says, I need a genuine reaction from her, and it's not going to work unless you scare her. And so Duncan's like, I got kids, man. I don't want to terrorize the girl. And he's like, I'm sorry. It's got to happen. So they gave him contacts. They gave him the fangs and everything, and he hissed at her with the fangs and and it's terrifying. And she screamed. She really did scream. I saw the actress doing an interview, and he's like, yeah, he scared the crap out of me. He's like, he hugged me after. He's like, I'm so sorry. But she had such wonderful memories of Tom Noonan, the guy who played all the villains most of his career, and he was just a sweetheart. Everybody loved him on the set. That's my favorite movie portrayal. So let me move to some books, some possible book versions of Frankenstein's monster that I think are really good. So that's gonna fall off. Hold on. All right. So first one, Dean Koontz, probably the second biggest selling horror author in the 80s and probably a lot of the 90s. And probably the second most adapted horror novelist outside of Stephen King. You just don't know how many adaptations. But he did a version of Frankenstein. This book here. So this is the first one. The first one there. And it's the second one here. But typical Dean, he took forever to get the next ones out, and I kind of lost track of it, and I didn't find out till I don't think he finished it for almost 10 years. He pulled a J.R.R. George R.R. Martin on us, basically. And I got the finished ones, but I have to go back and read the first two to finish it up. Just haven't gotten around to it. But it's actually, the first two books were really good, and there's actually a television adaptation of at least the first one, starring Vincent Perez as the creature. Vincent Perez from the Second Crow movie and Queen of the Night, I think it's called. No, Queen of the Damned. Queen of the Damned. Adaptation of the Anne Rice movie. One of Anne Rice's books. Starring, what is her name? She was like I can't remember her name, but anyway. Stuart Townsend is Lestat. I know that much. But anyway, that's a pretty decent version of Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster. It does have Frankenstein in it. The first president's vampire book is called Blood Oath. It's written by Richard Farnsworth, and it has a very good version of Frankenstein, the Dr. Frankenstein, in it. He's truly just horrific. But in that one, his Frankenstein is his creatures are kind of like a process that he has kind of like perfected, and so he's selling it to the highest bidder. But yeah, so yeah, that version of Frankenstein is really scary, really scary. But that's a Blood Oath, President's Vampire. I forgot to pick that one up. It's back there. Anyway, so there is a version of Frankenstein. My favorite imprint is out of the series here, Monster Hunter International. And I told you about the Wolfman. His version of Wolfman is a monster hunter named Earl Harbinger. It's just a great name. Just a great name. But in the series, there's another guy, this big old slab of muscle that works with the FBI. And he's called Agent Franks. Yeah, Agent Franks. And he's just a bad dude. First time you meet him, he almost beats a guy to death. Just just casually, right? But later on, he's so popular in that series that he got his own spin-off book called Nemesis. So, and then this book, he and Earl Harbinger go at it. They have a knockdown drag out. And so it's werewolf versus Frankenstein, basically. It's a great, really, really awesome culmination of their relationship, as it were. But in that one, and several adaptations I saw, kind of like I, Frankenstein, were the intelligence that inhabits Frankenstein actually comes from like angelic sources. That's like a more of an habitation, like a possession. Frankenstein's basically this empty vessel that gets possessed by angelic being. But that was Monster Hunter International's version of Frankenstein. Kind of goes that way. I, Frankenstein does the same thing. But so it's a pretty unique take on it. This is Sherlock Holmes Leviathan. It just came out. This is Richard Bonk and Mike Barron. And this one kind of has a surprise character kind of show up. Namely, this guy. So, he kind of like shows up in the third act, kind of like unexpectedly. But, and, out of all of the things that Mike's written, that one's not my favorite book of his. But it was pretty cool to see Frankenstein pop up like that. But my book series happens to have my own version of Let me go over here. But I happen to have my version of Frankenstein. Let me add to the stage here. Ba, 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 ba. There we go. Alright, let me to make it a little bigger. There we go. Alright. So this here is Deadeye 2. Now, what happened to Deadeye 1? Well, you'll have to get the book to find out. But he's kind of my Frankenstein monster version. I created in a City of Heroes like character creator. It's one of the best in the game, I think. But this is kind of like my first drawings. It's based on a friend of mine. This is him in my cover, my like special cover for my ash can, my digital ash can. But yeah, that's he's in that one. This is one that is going to be included with some of the materials. But this is Deadeye 1 and Deadeye 2 together in the same frame, which not really possible early on, but it may happen later on in the book. I don't know. Those look really cozy, I have to say. He made for me before he disappeared, but he never gave me the finished one. I basically had to enhance it, and my colorist had to do the best she could with it. But definitely one of my favorite versions of the guy. But yeah, right here. All right. But anyway, so the thing about Frankenstein's monster, the thing I think that a lot of people find really interesting, or at least inspiring. I'll say inspiring. Is the fact that that this guy. Let me try this. Is that better? Okay, so that didn't work out. Let me. All right, there we go. All right, but so this guy, trying to create like God, created a being that is more human than he is. Hey, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. I don't know how through all the algorithmic suppression you found my show, but good to see you. Anyway, so but yeah, so people find the creature, Frankenstein's monster, to be such a yeah, there you go. Good to see you, man. But they found the creature, the idea of the creature, Mary Shelley's drug-induced nightmare, fever dream. They find that to be a fertile ground for stories. And it when you think about the concept of it, that this gentleman who's trying to play God, creates like his own demise. He pursues something that he shouldn't pursue, and he actually, it's like one of those things like be careful what you wish for. By actually achieving his goal, he brings something into the world that ultimately is his downfall. And it's been that story is applicable to AI. That is a good point. That is a very good point. I guess with AI coming in, that Frankenstein might be actually more timely than ever. Skynet, in a lot of ways, is like Frankenstein's monster. This Terminator movies. Colossus the Forbin Project was an AI. Could AI be more human than humans? I don't know. I think I actually wrote a book recently about a man who discovered that the computer program that he had just created is thinking on its own. And he's got to make a decision whether to destroy it or risk it basically infecting the rest of the internet with sentience. And the whole idea of a sentient AI, basically creating a creature that's beyond our control, that's not controlled by us, that has has its tendrils in all of the internet, which we rely upon. I think the second Avengers movie, Ultron, is definitely a type of Frankenstein's monster, and you'll find this theme over and over and over and over and over again in culture. The idea of humanity basically creating its own demise, or creating a creature. Data in the Next Generation was a Frankenstein's monster. Okay. The Doctor in Voyager. He was like the software, Data was like the hardware, but they were both beings created by mankind that discovered their own sentience. And sentience is such an interesting, nebulous concept. What does sentience mean? What does it mean to be truly alive? Does it require a soul? Or does it just require self-determination? And we're not done we're not done exploring this question. We're not done figuring out what that means. Because ultimately, to figure out the way to create ultimately answers the question of our own creation. One of the things that I will never agree with ending human life, whether it's at the end or the beginning. One of the reasons why is because every human has a capacity to be unique and to be the one of one. And no matter who you are, no matter how boring you are, no matter how crazy you are, no matter how wacky you are, no matter how random you are, you're unique. You're one of one. You're the only one of you that exists. And I don't think one of the things that diving into this, shall we say, philosophy of collectivism, one of the things that removes is our fascination or our emphasis on individuality. But individuality is the most valuable resource on the planet. Say you've got an artifact. Say you've got something like the Mona Lisa. Why is the Mona Lisa completely, totally? Why can't somebody just sweep in and buy the Mona Lisa? Oh, okay. I guess we'll find out. Good story idea. All the way back to Jewish golems. Yep. And how much sentience is enough to have value? Dogs, cats, and crows, right? Well, I had a little dog. Her name was Rosie. And she was unique, personality-wise. You know, there's certain things that you expect out of Dachshunds. They have some personality quirks that are in common. But even among Dachshunds, she was very unique in that she wasn't a one-person dog. You put her in a room, and she was everybody's dog. And that was very, very unique for a Dachshund. But some would say that there's no sentience there. But yet, if I got another dog, it would not be her. You know, there's this whole entire thing about somebody figuring out how to clone their dog. And the idea being that, you know, you clone your best friend, the dog that you lost. And what you'll wind up with is that dog reincarnated in some way. No, what you'll get is the same dog, or a different dog entirely, right? There's a movie called Moon. And there was this movie that came out last year with Robert Pattinson that's not as good as Moon. So I'm not even going to bring it up. Mickey's 17 or something like that. But the movie Moon, they basically clone this guy like over and over and over again. And they just stick these clones in like suspended animation. It starts out with this guy, like he's coming up to the end of his time on the colony, and he has an accident. You know, he goes out to check an antenna, and he has an accident because he's been trying to make contact, and the antenna's not been working. And he's been trying to make contact with home, and he can't do it. Well, he has this accident, and then suddenly he's back in the station. But he seems to be different in a way. And, you know, you're like, what's going on here? And then he goes out and he finds this vehicle, and inside the vehicle is him, but it's another him, like an older him, one that's been that has all these memories of being on the station longer, right? And then it turns out, they're clones. But the whole entire thing is like, the devaluation of humanity, in that this oil company or this mining company basically made all these same versions of the same guy. And then he finds out when he finally makes contact with the Earth that the guy who is their source. Oh, okay. Time for dinner. Thanks. All right. See you, man. There goes my one and only viewer, evidently. But he finds out that that he's a copy of this guy that's back on Earth. And so it's like, which one's the real one? Because he has the same memories as that guy. Memories of his wife and whatever. And he finds out that in an intervening time, his wife has passed away. And so he just talked to her in his memory, because when he was cloned, the guy that was cloned, had just left his wife. So, it's just a really unique movie. It's called Moon. But we're not done asking this question. We're not done exploring what it means to be human, what it means to be sentient, what it means to be an individual. We're not done exploring that yet. And I think Frankenstein's going to be made. I think it's going to be perpetuated. It's going to be, in some form, recreated over and over again. Because the primary question that it asks has not been answered. And it probably never will be answered. What makes an individual sentient? What separates the creature from the creation, or the creator from the creation? And as mankind attempts to create, attempts to perpetuate itself artificially, what kind of mistakes are we going to make? What happens if our creation doesn't like daddy, mommy or daddy, whatever? What happens when that happens? Okay. There's movies like Species that also have that same people making something. This like robot movies where somebody makes a robot and winds up killing people, I can't remember that one. Megan, I think. Megan from a couple years ago. But we're going to keep remaking Frankenstein in some level, over and over and over again. Primary question: what separates creation and creator? And can mankind create like God creates? And so I think a lot of people, they're looking into cloning, they're looking into robotics, they're looking into artificial intelligence, which is the big thing right now. And so right now, all the artificial intelligence, like like YouTube's artificial intelligence, suppressing everybody, you know, taking down channels left and right, making all these big mistakes. You know, if you play a clip and that YouTube says will clear, and then the AI takes you down. AI is only as good as the programmers. And so until AI starts programming itself, and if that starts happening, we may be looking at an end time event. You know, we may be seeing the end of everything. And they are just bound and determined to get there. And so the rules are in the lesson, the warning of Frankenstein is just being ignored. We're such a hurry to see if we can that we're not asking if we should. I think ultimately that's the lesson of Frankenstein. And we'll keep making these movies. We'll keep making these variations of this theme. And we'll still march towards our own destruction. Gleefully, and just ignore it. Just ignore it. It never turns out well. Never turns out well. But, you know, Colossus Forbin Project, Terminator, never turns out well. But here we go. Anyway, so thank you all for for watching this. Evidently, after the show's over. But some of you probably aren't going to see it until after it's over because of the way YouTube and X have been suppressing things lately. But the question that needs to be asked, the question that Frankenstein ultimately is trying to posit, is that, is our reach about to exceed our grasp? Are we about to or in our attempt to become our God ourselves? Are we about to create something that is going to be the end of us all? I think that's the question that we need to be asking. That's the question that Frankenstein is warning us about. And it's the question that we're all just, powers that be, are just ignoring right now. But anyway, thank you all for coming. And we will see you next time. Follow the white rabbit. Bye, everybody.